For the first time on Dirt, the Full Throttle Series, Darkmatter Designs Cup Series is live tonight on Full Throttle TV from Bristol Motor Speedway, but it's covered in dirt, and it's going to be an excellent, fun, and crazy night, and we don't even know what to expect. I'm joined in the booth tonight by my partner, Chris Speer. Chris, I mean, this is the first time we've seen Cup cars on a dirt track. What are we going to get tonight? How is it going to look when we get done with 125 laps at Bristol in the dirt?
Well, these cars currently look like actual Cup cars. By the time we get done with the race tonight, we're going to have people that look like modifieds out there. We're going to have people that just have no front bumpers at all, no rear bumpers. The sides can be caved in, and you know what, Jared? It's not going to matter because this is a short track, and it's on dirt.
Exactly right. I mean, that's the big thing, right? Is it's still a short track, it's still Bristol, but then we throw in this other layer, and that is literally a layer of dirt on the track. Let's take a look at our championship standings first. Bobby Terrell coming in with a 5-point lead over Terry Cooper Jr., Casey Mullen in third, Ronnie Royal fourth, Jason Speer fifth, Sher Williford, Troy Torges, and Dale Nearad, Richie Coy, Dean Doucette, your top 10, and 4 race winners in your top 20, 5 in your top 25, which makes it even more enticing as we do approach, you know, the quarter point of this season here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. And tonight, we're probably looking at somebody else getting a win here for the first time this season. It's kind of a wild card race, Chris.
It certainly is. You know, we've got our guys that we know that are fast. We know that Terry Cooper Jr. enjoys this track. Just looking at the practice times, he's in the top 5. But that doesn't mean that he's going to win. There's so much unknown here that actually that just is going to take everyone by surprise because you don't know what this track is actually going to be like between the beginning of the race and the end of the race. We talk about how tracks changed when they were hot and tires were falling off, but this is going to be just as bad, if not even 3 to 4, maybe even 5 times worse, Jared.
Exactly, and that's the other thing too. You know, Chris, you kind of briefly mentioned and talked about it. The tires on dirt here in iRacing currently don't wear out, so you're looking at using the same tires the entire race, and who knows if we'll have pit stops or not. Likely they can do a full race in the with a tank of gas, but we'll have to see. So let's take a look real quick at our race information here. Bristol Motor Speedway, the same track that everybody knows and loves, but the difference is you'll have a 90-degree air temp, and we're only 78-degree track temp. So the thing with dirt is they do water these things down in game, and it does cool it off quite a bit. And right now the track is pretty used up. We've had right at an hour, almost an hour of practice in, so the track is pretty much worn in, Chris, and you can definitely see where these guys have been running, and you see that big cushion on the outside of the wall. We expect these guys to use that up a little bit tonight.
Absolutely. I actually hopped on the track myself earlier tonight just to get a feel for it when it was new, and I can tell you it is 100% different now than it was then.
Yeah, it is massively different. Take a look at our race analysis. This track opened in 1960. It was reconfigured to the progressive banking that you normally see on the Bristol short track in 2007. And then for the first time since 2000 and 2001, dirt has been added into the surface, which is going to make it a crazy race. But the other thing too, Chris, is yes, we're going to have qualifying like normal, but we're also going to have 3 or 4 heat races here tonight to set the grid. And right now, everybody that's here in the server is going to make the race. So we don't have anybody going home tonight. Everybody's going to be in the race. It's going to make it really exciting because we're going to get to watch these guys race in a smaller field around this track and kind of maybe show their muscle a little bit more than the race.
Absolutely, and that's actually something that they're going to enjoy because when you get all of these cars on the track, there is no space or room or anything like that. It's all out. You are not just racing the track, you're watching and racing the guys around you, behind you, in front of you, even 4 or 5 car lanes back at this place.
Exactly right. You look at the timetables up there right now, and you'll see as practice goes to an end, so we're actually losing our data here, but Jared Daniels on the top of the board, Steve Loomis, Tracy Powers are the top 5 as we are about ready to start qualifying. Chris, you know, what are we expecting in this race here tonight as this track transitions, as we know? So they're going to reset this track to 0% every time between practice and qualifying in the first heat race, and then the heat race and the race. So how is this going to affect how these guys get out there and attack this track with a fresh rubber out there?
Well, from my perspective, and when I was out there earlier today, you actually are going to start down probably towards the lower end of the track. But you're going to work your way up, kind of similar to what we saw today in the actual Bristol race. The guys weren't immediately going up to the top, and that's going to be pretty much the case here tonight, I believe. I could be completely wrong, but that's what I foresee happening.
Right now we got the 09 of Kevin Sargent on the track, getting his first lap in. Tracy Powers goes to the top of the board, and you see Kevin Sargent really getting loose there out of the turn. More times coming up on the board. And like we said before, these guys are all going to be divided out based on their qualifying times into different subsections and different heats. As Jared Daniels goes fast, first 16 sub 17 second lap that we've seen through practice and everything, 16.96 for the 21.
Certainly an impressive lap, but now everyone knows where they stand and who they've got to beat to get the pole.
Terry Cooper Jr. won on Wednesday night in his number 25 machine, so he is right now second on the board. You see Bernard Persson out there in the number 8. He is did a pretty good job as Dale Nearad goes under sub 17 seconds. It looks like about 200ths off of Jared Daniels, so those guys very quick. But with those heat races, you know, the top 3 or 4, I don't know. I still don't know if we're going to have 4 heats or 3 heats, but we are looking at the top 3 or 4 drivers will be starting in the pole in the heat race, and that's going to be a huge advantage too, Chris.
It certainly is. The fewer people you have in those heat races, the fewer chances for mistakes or accidents that you could be caught up in, Jared. That's going to make a huge difference for when it comes time for the race.
See on screen Tony Soler, who finished 3rd place on on Wednesday night. A really impressive drive through the back of the pack. Started back in the 20s. He's on track, but it looks like he had an issue and ended up not finishing his lap out. Now we got Casey Mullen, who did not race on Wednesday night in the trucks, elected to bypass that event. Him and Tim Bills out on the track right now. And Casey Mullen, you see on board, that car very much just slideways throughout the whole entire corner.
Well, and one thing that's an issue here is that because we just reset the track surface, these guys are relearning when they're going through that first turn again, because it's not the same track that they were just on.
And how much does that affect, Chris? You know, is it a shock to the system when you've been on a track that's super slick and all of a sudden you got all the grip in the world? Does it play with your mind a little bit?
Absolutely, because you're expecting one thing and then you get out there and it's completely different. Because most dirt tracks, you actually are going to want to set up either for a slick track or a worn track, as we call it, or a fresh track or a new track in this case. And that's the issue here is that your qualifying setup isn't going to be like your race setup because your race setup has to be able to account for the change that it's going to go through. Whereas your qualifying one is completely different.
That's a really good point. You see everybody's getting their lap times in right now. Jeff Winter, last week's winner, either electing to wait it out or not turn a qualifying time, not sure. James Torrey hasn't turned a lap. Jason Speer not turning a lap. And Tony Soler has not turned a lap here. While we have an extra minute here, we're going to go ahead and hear our national anthem as performed by Alyssa Shipman. Enjoy right before Hear the Race.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave
right, back live here at Bristol Motor Speedway, where qualifying has just wrapped up, and we are about ready to head to the first heat event of the night. And we'll be hearing from our heat winners here as the heats go on. And our first heat up, 14 drivers in this race. And let's take a look at that starting lineup real quick here, as looks like they're just now getting on the grid. Jared Daniels on the pole position. Lane Allen will start second. Tracy Powers third. Brian Helm fourth. Bernard Person fifth. Richie Coy sixth. Brian Bliss will start in seventh place. Donnie Staubitz eighth. Kevin Sargent ninth. And John Held 10th, Chris.
Brody Hanna will start 11th in this heat. Paul Sargent will be 12th, and 13th should be Brad Patterson.
There we go. And also we got James Torrey, it looks like, but he is not on the track, so I don't know if he is going to race, anticipating on racing, or if he is not going to run here tonight. But that is going to be looking like our first heat here tonight. And you look at this group, I mean, this is a pretty formidable group that we have in this group, or in this heat race. Chris, I mean, we got Lane Allen, who was very strong in the truck race on Wednesday. Jared Daniels, who's been very good in practice all night. And you got Richie Coy in there. You got Donnie Staubitz, a New England modified racer up here. Should be an interesting little group of guys to watch out for.
Absolutely, and one of the things here we got to watch for is who's going to push people out of the way to get a better starting position for the feature, because that's really going to be a very big key aspect of this race. It's going to be a lot about track position. It's going to be hard to pass at this track, especially if you're trying to be careful of those around you.
Yeah, exactly right. We'll get a very good look. And the other thing, too, is all the other 27 drivers, they're watching along with us. So they're exactly right there getting to see the same thing we're going to get to see. And they kind of get to build a notebook about how this race is going to be run here tonight. And that'll help them out. You never want to be first on the track. I was in the first heat race on Wednesday night, and I got to say it was a little bit nerve-wracking because I didn't know what to expect. But these guys are going to get it done here. And a lot of Fords in this group, Fords and Chevys in this group. I think it's mostly Fords. I think I see one Chevrolet in this group, two Chevrolets in this group. Pace car about to make the turn off. And green flag is out for heat race number 1 here at Bristol Dirt.
You can see they're taking a little bit careful going into one. They're trying to get a little spread out so that they're not all up on one another. But because this is the closest racing they've probably experienced in these cars, even with practice before this, Jared.
Yeah, Chris, and Lane Allen looked underneath. Jared Daniels couldn't quite get it done. And now Tracy Powers in that 45. Tracy Powers has not had a season. Remember, he gets a little contact with the 14 as these guys banging him a little bit already.
That's something you'll have to watch out for that 45 to make sure that he does not overheat going through the rest of the race as he gets a run on Powers on the outside.
Tracy Powers. And you see right there on their camera, Brian Helm launching up on the side of that wall and got our camera a little bit there. But that's what you're going to see here tonight, Chris. These guys are going to wall ride and maybe even run at the bottom. We've seen everything, but that 45 car looking nasty on the track, and I love that paint. I wouldn't want it behind me, though.
No, I definitely wouldn't want it behind me either. It seems like it's got teeth ready out there to just bite you at this track.
And this track will bite you enough as it is. Jared Daniels going away from these guys here in this first heat race. It's up to a 90-second lead right now. We look back behind this battle for second place. Brian Helm has established himself as 4th best right now. Bernard Person, his teammate, right behind him. Richie Coy, who finished second on Wednesday night here in the Truck Series, is up to 6th. Donnie Staubitz getting around his teammate, Brian Bliss, and those guys actually battling right now for 8th place. So this is a lot larger of a heat race than we've had on the truck race. We only had about 11 drivers at most, and we have 13 out here right now. Donnie Staubitz running right now right in front of John Held, and it's good airtime for these guys. Some of these guys we don't get a chance to talk about a lot, but John Held doing a good job back there in 9th place, just ahead of Kevin Sargent behind Donnie Staubitz.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to get your name out there and showcase what it is that you can do with your car. They've actually spread out quite a bit throughout the entire field here. It's kind of impressive to see there's about a second between everyone except for the battle for second.
We also had the battle for 8th place back here. Staubitz, Held, and Kevin Sargent right there. Brody Hanna making a return back to the track. Wasn't sure if he was going to race tonight, but it looks like he is at least going to make an attempt at it. Good to see him back out on the track after battling the current situations going on in the world, and doing a pretty good job. But I know he was having some issues with dizziness and things like that, so this could be a very disorienting track all by itself. Even back further, Paul Sargent just getting lapped, and Brad Patterson also getting lapped. Those guys 12th and 13th on the track. James Torrey doesn't look like he made the start here tonight. And Chris, you look at these guys up front. Lane Allen starting to reel back in Jared Daniels a little bit. This track seems to be changing a little bit, but looked like Jared Daniels might have gotten held up just a little bit by those lap cars.
Absolutely, that's one issue here is that when you're passing slower cars, that you've got to really pick and choose where it is that you want to run, just to make sure that you can actually get around them cleanly. Plus, usually lap cars here are already in trouble, not just because of the way that because they're about to go a lap down, but also because they usually don't seem to have a good grip on the track, and that's what makes it a lot harder to get around them, because you have to be a little bit more careful than you would if it was you racing the car behind you in position for our leader here.
And you look out the back of the 23 of Brody Hannon, you see Lane Allen there, Tracy Powers there. That's second and third going around there. And it's a little bit of a difficult spot, like you were saying, Chris, to be put in when you're the car about to be lapped down, because you don't want to change your line, because that can make things 10 times worse. As looks like we're going to have a battle for lead, as Lane Allen really making a good run on to Jared Daniels. He's a half a second now.
You say that, and as we were watching him, or I was watching him, Lane actually tagged the wall there on the straight. But at this track, that's not going to hurt them as much. You may see that quite frequently. The only place you don't want to do that is going through the corner, at least not this early.
And you really look, this track getting very worn in on the middle and bottom side. The top doesn't look hardly used at all, especially in 3 and 4. Yeah, that's 3 and 4. And you see these guys yaw out going into there, but nobody really running up there on that high side, which I'm kind of surprised about. And that's really going to change the dynamic for heat race number 2 coming up. And I'm sure those guys in heat race number 2 wish these guys would run around the track a little bit more, maybe.
Certainly that's going to be an issue, but also at the same time, that means you know exactly where the line is already grooved in. If your car handles a slick racetrack a little bit better, that's where you're going to be running in that second heat.
We did have John Held have a little contact with Donnie Staubitz, and these guys all battling right now to stay on the lead lap. Staubitz in 9th, Paul Sargent right there and going another lap down, so he'll go 2 laps down. But this lap traffic coming at a bad time for Jared Daniels. We're down to 2 to go, and Lane Allen in the 14 is coming in a hurry.
Absolutely, and you can see that Daniels is doing everything he can to figure out how to get around these cars. He's actually changing up his line a little bit, which is actually slowing him down. He's not used to running there, and that's why Allen's being able to catch up to him as much as he has.
White flag here in heat race number 1, and we may have been remiss to mention it, no cautions in the heat races, but we will have cautions for regular race. Lane Allen looking very good coming through 3 and 4, goes to the high side. His teammates in front of him, Brian Bliss and those guys, all on the same team, but it's going to be Jared Daniels by a whisker over Lane Allen. Tracy Powers 3rd. Brian Helm will grab 4th. Bernard Person 5th. Richie Coy in 6th. Kevin Sargent might have beaten Richie Coy to the line. As actually they're still battling, so Kevin Sargent's going to grab 6th place ahead of Richie Coy, then Brian Blitz and Donnie Staubitz. Brody Hanna will grab 10th in the heat.
Certainly a fantastic little heat race we had there, and certainly interesting and exciting. I wasn't expecting Allen to be able to pull up like he was able to.
Now, very, very entertaining first heat race, and now we're going to get into our second heat race. We'll hear from our heat winner here in just a moment, but let's take a look first, Chris, at our starting grid here in the second heat. We got Dale Nearad. He will qualify on pole position in this heat, along with Steve Loomis. Row number 2 is going to be Randy McCanney and Kenneth Schultz. Kenneth Schultz had a really good truck on Wednesday night. Look forward to seeing what he can do here tonight. And then row number 3, we have Bill Benedict and Dean Doucette. Row 4, Chris Beck and Andrew Perlicki. Chris.
Raph Nolan Jr. will be 9th. 10th will be Casey McMullen. Tim Bills will be 11th. 12th, Bobby Terrell. Tony Soler will be 13th, and 14th will be Jason Speer.
So there you have it. These guys should be another interesting heat. Chris, we watched the first heat. Things got spread out. What do you think is going to happen in this second heat? Are we going to see a lot more of the same racing, or do you think this is going to be a little bit more compacted together because the track's starting to get worn in a little bit?
It's really hard to say because you don't know exactly how everyone is going to be set up for the track. I'd like to say that it'll be a little bit spread out more, but I don't know that it will be. I think we're going to see the same grooves be worn in a little bit more. So there's always that, but I don't know that we'll see as tight racing, maybe up towards the front, but maybe not so towards the back. This is a tough track, Jared.
Yeah, it really is. And I have to say, I ran a couple laps in the Cup car around here, and it is a difficult journey to get that job done. So these guys are going to be on it all night long in these vehicles. Pace truck about to make the hard left-hand turn here. We're about ready to go racing here. In heat number 2, green flag is out, and a little bit of a slow start by Steve Loomis, but everybody gets down the way going into turn number 1.
Certainly it bunched up the start there. You can definitely see that these guys are going to at least be tighter going through the corners than that first heat was. Oh, trying to take it 3 wide into the corner.
Dean Doucette had some sparks coming off the side of the 29 back there. Behind him, we got Kenneth Schultz in the sandwich, and he's going to slide ahead of Bill Benedict, who gets into him again. A contact between the 90 and the 91. They're going to maintain, but I do believe Bill Benedict has hit the cone, and that might be a black flag for the 90.
Well, I'm going to eat my words, Jared. I said that they were going to spread out, but they're taking it 3 wide almost everywhere to get around people here. This is an incredible showing for these guys.
Look further back. These guys are battling hard. You got Kenneth Schultz, Casey McMullen, Andrew Perlicki going at it right now. Perlicki ripping the bottom, McMullen on the top, Chris Beck in the 44 just ahead of him. And Chris, you know, I have to point this out. 3 race winners this year were in this heat. Our last heat had no race winners, and all 3 of our race winners are 1, 2, and 3 right now on the track.
Well, you definitely know that these guys know how to make it to victory lane, and they're trying to prove it here tonight. One thing that is interesting, though, is that the 03 of Del Nirad has pulled over a 3.5-second lead on our second place of Randy McKinney.
Yeah, he has. And while we have a little bit of action break, we're going to bring in our first heat winner, Jared Daniels. Chris, I believe you're down there standing by with our first heat winner here tonight.
I certainly am, Jared. And actually, Jared Daniels is here with me. Daniels, tell me how you were able to first off get around the lap track and be able to stay in that P1 position.
Well, being in Heat 1, the track was in good condition, so you could pretty much run wherever. As you can see, especially going into this Heat 2, it's already starting to dry slip the middle pretty good, and cars are forced to run that top line, which is going to make passing a lot harder. So fortunate enough for me, being in Heat 1, it made it a little easier with track conditions.
Were you at all worried when you were starting to come up on that lap traffic that the Allen was going to be able to get around you?
Yeah, definitely. He did make some time up on me a little bit there when I came up on the lap traffic. It's hard to tell which way the lap traffic's going to go. It's hard. They could be up high, but then they could choose a low line, or they could be low and shoot to the high side. So you really got to be watching, because you're, unlike a paved track, the guy's line in dirt racing is going to change as he enters the corner. So it's almost a guessing game.
It certainly is, and you were able to at least make it through with a 2-second lead over Allen. Congratulations on that heat win.
Thanks, guys. You guys do an awesome job up here.
We appreciate it, Jared, and best of luck during the main event. And Chris, it's going to be an interesting race for these guys, as you heard Jared Daniels talking about that first heat really being, gripped up for him, and was happy to be in that first heat. As you see, Randy McKinney getting around Jason Speer, who is really struggling on the bottom there. Looked like he was all kinds of out of shape, but he gets that 83 under control.
Yeah, this is certainly a difficult track, and actually, you heard about it right there with Jared. He talked about how the lap traffic are kind of unpredictable here, and that was something that we had talked a little bit about earlier. That as you're going through here, you never know if they're going to take the high line or the low line, and that right there with Speer was definitely something to look out for.
And we did get a word that Bill Benedict did get penalized, unsafe pit exit, because he did hit that cone, even though he wasn't on pit road. It still counts as a penalty, and the 90 will be listed in 14th place. I think he's called it a night on the heat race. Same with 10 Bills, as Dale Nearad working around Bobby Terrell, who has dropped to 10th place. Already only nine drivers on the lead lap. Ralph Nolan Jr. is the next driver up in the 95. He is in 9th place right now. Ralph bringing on a new sponsor here tonight, Employernomics. They're making employment easier. So check those guys out. Ralph Nolan does a lot for the league around here, and he has really had a good race last week. Got up in the wall at the end of the race. Kind of cost him a top 5 finish, but now he's about to go a lap down as Dale Nearad's going to slide on by the 95.
And what a close call there with the 03 and the 95. That's something that you're going to have to look out for when we get to the feature. Those lap cars are going to make this incredibly difficult, and you're seeing it right here.
There you are. And you see this gap has really increased. 7-second lead. This is a heat race, folks. This is a 20 lap heat race. This is not we haven't been out here 50 laps. Dale Nearad has an 8-second lead in this group, and Randy McCandy has a 5-second lead on third place Dean Doucette. We haven't had any accidents to speak of in this group, so it's not that's not the issue. It's just that Dale Nearad really throwing in some good lap times right now, Chris.
He certainly is, and you can see that he's going a little bit closer to the wall than we saw in our Heat 1. We talked about this track changing. He's going as far up into that cushion as he can to be able to drive off the corner, and it's really paying off for him.
You look at these guys back here. Steve Loomis up into 5th place right now. Doing a good job in the in the 17 machine, if I could talk. He is down 3 positions from the start as we are on the final lap here already. Dale Nearad lapping drivers like it's going out of style. He comes off turn number 2 there. He's trying to put Tony Soler and Casey McMullen a lap down. That's 8th and 7th. Those guys battling for position here. Tony Soler and Casey McMullen going to stay on the lead lap. Dale Nearad's going to grab heat number 2. And Randy McCanny, distant 2nd place. He's just now coming off of turn number 4 to take the checker flag. Dean Doucette getting challenged by Andrew Palicki, who's come through the pack very quickly. Can't get it done off the turn. Palicki will get 4th. Doucette 3rd. Loomis, Beck 5th and 6th. Tony Soler holds on to beat Casey Mullen for 7th, and McMullen will grab 8th. Nolan in 9th. Kenneth Schultz will grab 10th.
Man, that was a interesting heat there. Our leader had to deal with a lot of lap traffic there at the end. You actually saw that he actually let up on that last lap just so he didn't have any issues with the lap cars.
And that kind of paid off for Tony Soler because he was able to gain a position there. And these heat races come thick and fast. The grip is going down and the attrition already going up. Let's get into our third heat lineup. We got Terry Cooper Jr. on pole position. Troy Torgerson in 2nd. Chad Lang and Gary Griffith will be in row number 2. Ronnie Royal and Josh Mayu in row number 3. Row number 4 will be Jeff Bratton and Rob Shoemaker, Chris.
Wayne Grossi will be in 9th. 10th will be Rachel Hunt. 11th will be Sherwood Williford. Oh, it looks like my timing and scoring is updating a little bit here. And 12th will be Kevin Rupert, and 13th will be Jeff Winter.
There we go. And we saw Terry Cooper Jr. He was the winner in the truck race on Wednesday night. Chad Lang also won a heat race on Wednesday night. So that is some important things to note in this race. We do have some dirt racers. Jeff Bratton also won a truck race at Eldora in the past. So do have some dirt winners out here tonight. Only one race winner in this event, in this heat right now, and that's Jeff Winter, who starts at the very tail end of the pack here tonight. So we'll see what he can do in the number 30 as sun's coming out. The clouds have kind of departed here a little bit.
It'll be interesting, Jared, to see how that actually reacts to the racetrack here. You got half of it that's now in the shade, and you have the rest of it that's in the sun. That's going to make for a slick track real quick here.
Terry Cooper Jr., Troy Torgerson leads them off turn number 4. Pace truck is out. And green flag is underway in heat number 3. Terry Cooper Jr. slid the tires a little bit, allows Troy Torgerson to get a little bit of grip in the slick. And here, he doesn't get a good job on the bottom.
Not at all, and you could see that it bunched everyone up there. But the top group didn't get a good start either. They were coming through the corner, and you see how much that impacted them as well. As we see that Terry Cooper Jr. will lead that first lap. It was a close one there.
Chad Lang there as well. And Chris, I'm looking at this. You're not even kidding. The shade is impressive on the backstretch. Oh, we got Kevin Rupert down low. He is going to avoid the cone, I believe. So I think he'll avoid penalty there. But these guys, that shade has got to be a little bit tricky on the eyes.
It certainly is. I know for certain that if you have your graphic settings turned all the way up here, that sun may not be as harsh as what the guys on the real track had today, but it's definitely going to be blinding going into the corner.
Continuing to battle here. 3-car battle for our heat position number 1 here. This is going to set the winner of this group will be 3rd right now. And you see Terry Cooper run the bottom line, Chad Lang on the top side kind of, and Troy Torgerson in there as well.
Yeah, you can see these guys are really working in the different lines here. It seems like everyone's preferred line right now is the bottom, as our leader gets a little too loose and gets it sideways, and the 41, Chad Lang, is going to go around him on the outside.
Chad Lang to the outside, can't quite do it. Little contact between these guys. Chad Lang goes to the high side in the 41 machine, and he's going to lead that lap here in heat number 2. And these guys battling hard. Troy Torgerson now involved.
At this point, everyone wants to start 3rd in the feature, and you can see it here as these guys are really giving everything that they have to be able to get a lead. And it looks like Lang's actually pulling away about a half a second lead right now.
Chad Lang doing a good job in the 41, but don't look now. But we have Ronnie Royal and Gary Griffith on the back of this group, as well as Josh Mayhew. These guys all getting up in there. The 51 of Mayhew there. So we got 6 drivers kind of under a blanket right now.
We certainly do. That mistake by Terry Cooper Jr. has really bunched up this field, and they made another one as he just got into the wall right there in 2.
He's overdriving a little bit, slides up the track a little bit in front of Troy Torgerson. These guys, the track has really changed, and now we've got 3 wide coming off turn number 2. 4.
Wow, and what that did wonders for Chad Lang as he is driven away from this pack, and again up in the wall.
Contact between Mayhew and the 24 of Ronnie Royal. We'll see that a lot tonight. These guys will keep going though. Contact between Gary Griffith and Terry Cooper as Terry Cooper in the 25 sliding back. We will hear from our second heat winner as soon as we are able to. But my goodness, this race is definitely ratcheted up the intensity.
It certainly has. It's hard to look away when you've got all of these different battles going on almost all over the track with these different guys.
Now we do bring in our second heat winner, Dale Nearad. Dale, congratulations on your heat. Dominated that one. 8-second win over Randy McCanny. I don't know if you're watching for this 3rd heat, but are you kind of glad you were in the 2nd heat there?
Oh yeah, I am. That was a smoke out there. Jeez, I didn't expect to get that much of a lead actually getting through that heat, but here I go, starting 2nd now.
How was the track out there for that heat? Was it slicked in a little bit and allowed you to get a little bit more grip out there?
Yeah, I think it started beginning that little transition where it was from like that like it was all fresh, and it started that big transition where it's starting to get slick, right, like what we're seeing right now. I think towards the end I started scraping the wall a little bit, got into some lap cars, but I was able to make that change there.
Well, Dale, we saw how fast you were in practice. We saw how fast you were on Wednesday night. What is the strategy coming into the feature race now, knowing you're going to be starting on the outside with a brand new fresh track?
I think it's just taking it easy here. Just keep doing what I've been doing. There's no reason to push the issue just a little bit like I did in the heat race. I kind of went all out, but that was for position for the start. So I'm looking forward to the feature here.
Well, Dale, best of luck in the future, and I'm sure we'll talk to you later in the night. But best of luck, man, and congratulations on your second heat win.
Yeah, hopefully I see y'all soon.
All righty, Chris, that was Dale Nearad. And while we were talking to Dale, we had a lot of stuff going on. Josh Mayhew up to 4th, Gary Griffith to 3rd, Terry Cooper hitting the wall right behind him.
Terry Cooper is just not having the heat race that he was expecting. But the one thing that has been interesting to watch, he's able to gather it back up, and he's actually made up a couple positions after some tough impacts with other cars, the wall, and just all over the track.
Got Ronnie Royal there in 6th, Jeff Bratton in 7th in that number 55. And he is actually a really solid dirt racer, and he's just taking his time. He started in 7th in this heat race and is able to get that car going to the front, and he's just waiting it around. And you look behind them, Jeff Winter, Rob Shoemaker, the last 2 drivers on the lead lap right now. Shoemaker really loose down the straightaway. That 66 car looks all kinds of angry.
Absolutely, and if you look up ahead, with Gary Griffith in the 12 car in 5th, that battle is huge and heating up right now.
Holy cow, we got all kinds of stuff. We got lap traffic. We got Wayne Grossi and Sher Williford in lap traffic. We got Gary Griffith, who was in 3rd, has dropped. Oh, and Derek Cooper gets into Sherwood Williford, and now Gary Griffith's going to go back around, allowing Mayhew to go by both of them, so Mayhew's up to 3rd.
This is certainly a track where you have to be able to keep your focus and be able to hit your marks every lap, even if they're different. And in this case, Terry Cooper Jr. did not. Instead, he was lucky that he had a car there that he could bounce off of.
Gary Griffith, Ronnie Royal now looking on there, and we got the checker flag. It's going to go to Chad Lang by over 2 seconds. Troy Torgerson will get 2nd, and Josh Mayhew with a great 3rd place run. Griffith holds on to 4th. Ronnie Royal will grab 5th. Terry Cooper, disappointing heat race. He'll drop to 6th. Jeff Bratton and Jeff Winter, 7th and 8th. The last cars on the lead lap. Shoemaker, Grossi, Williford 1 lap down. They will finish up the grid here tonight. Wow, Chris, I don't know what to say after those heat races.
I can tell you right now, Jared, I am happy to be up here in the booth instead of down there on the track.
And a huge, huge night for these guys. And we're going to grab Chad Lang here real quick. And Chris, I believe you're down there with our 3rd heat winner, Mr. Chad Lang.
I certainly am. Chad, your run there was impressive because you were able to avoid the mistakes that Terry Cooper Jr. seemed to be having. What was it that helped you be able to get around and pull away from him and the rest of the pack for that heat?
Just the car setup. It's just set up for the slick track.
Well, are you worried at all going into a fresh track that's going to be an issue starting off for you?
It could be for the first little bit.
Well, you're able to make it work in that last heat. We'll be looking to see what you can do in this feature here tonight. Good luck, and we hope to talk to you at the end.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Chad Lang, focused, ready to go here tonight in heat after his heat number 3 win. I had to count for a second. Now we're getting in the future. You can see where your favorite drivers are lining up, but it's based on heats. The first heat gets basically the every 3rd position is what we're looking at here tonight. We do have something going on. Troy Torgerson has jumped to pits. I don't know if he had an issue, Chris, or if you noticed.
He may have actually jumped down there because he was in the wrong setup. That's one thing that's different, because remember, in the different heats, we had a slick track versus a fresh track. He may have went to get a setup that's set up more for the fresh track. It'll be interesting to see here.
All right, man. Light you back on the pace car.
So
We're
we
not
are,
going green this time. We are not going green.
Going to add a 2nd lap here. So something must have happened with the group at the start there. Something with Troy Torgerson. Not sure what it was. Let's see if we can maybe get a quick replay look, but
you can hear them talking over the radio. It seems like race control is trying to get him back up into his position, but he's still currently on pit road. So it'd be interesting if they allow him to jump back up into position.
Actually, there was no contact. He just didn't go at the start. May have had some kind of technical issue there. So that's what happened to Troy Torgerson, and the race control working on trying to get him back in line, but I'm not sure that's going to be able to happen here.
Not at all, and that's something that just like in real life, you can have cars have some kind of mechanical failure, and iRacing's no different. You may be able to have a wheel become disconnected, yeah, or your pedals disconnected. You got a lot of things that can go wrong, even in the virtual world, Jared.
Yeah, and that's one thing. And the other thing too is this sun is setting more, and it was already cloudy, but it's getting really shady on the back straightaway there. Going to be really interesting to see how this goes. Pace car is off, and green flag is out for the dirt race here at Bristol for the feature event. Good start by Dale Nearad. Jared Daniels couldn't quite get the throttle down the bottom.
No, he couldn't, and that top line is benefiting from it as they are starting to pull up, even if not past the cars they started beside.
2, 3, 4 wide, back further. Dean Doucette in the wall and keeps it going, but Dale Nearad's going to lead lap 1, and he's opened up a gap.
That's certainly the greatest thing that he can see is all these guys battling behind him for position because he'll be able to pull away because there's no one on his inside, Jared.
Got a little contact. Steve Loomis bouncing off his teammate Terry Cooper Jr., but he was able to get that thing going. And the battle right now is built on back. These top 3 drivers have really taken it out. Oh, and Randy McCanny tagged by Tracy Powers, 4 wide back here. And Tracy Powers moving further back as he gets rear-ended by Roddy Royal. We got action all over the track.
It's hard to keep up with anyone. Now the 41 is going back as well as he got tagged. We have a spin on the front stretch. They're able to gather it back up. Wow, there is action everywhere. Everyone's beating and banging off of each other and the wall.
We'll try as much as we can, but just like the truck race on Wednesday night, there's action all over the track. We already got 3 drivers, Hunt, Paul Sargent, and Brad Patterson, that are about to be a lap down. And we're 5 laps into this race, Chris, and lap traffic is there. I mean, we got lap traffic already.
We certainly do, and that's going to be a huge impact for our leader here because not only is he coming up on one car, he's coming up on a lot of cars all at once.
Jump on board Dale Nearad. Holy cow. What do you do if you're the leader in this position, Chris? I mean, where does he go?
Wherever someone else isn't. At this point, you're just hoping that someone will give you room.
Ooh, caution's
It
out.
won't matter because caution right there in front of the leader is able to make it through, but the guys behind him not so lucky.
And Tony Soler was one of those drivers we saw sitting in the middle of the track. Let's try to get a replay on that here, but that was precarious positioning for these guys. So here's Tony Soler. He is coming into your frame right now, the 74. And let's see what happens here. And looks like, he got tagged by the 90. The 90 just drove in deep. 74 spins it around, and everybody behind him that was just a lap down just got kind of gaggled up there. I don't think there's any significant damage on Jeff Winter, Tim Bills, and that group, but Lane Allen did get a little piece from 3rd place as well.
It was such an interesting wreck there because the 74 was the one that got spun around, but probably had the least amount of damage from that wreck as the cars behind him had to check up and some were just not able to. This isn't an asphalt track. You can't slow down near as fast in these cars on a dirt track. I mean, it's already hard on asphalt, Jared.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing too, Chris, is you see Paul Sargent going around the outside. He's going to be our lucky dog for this first caution here. The other thing too is, if you've ever gotten off track on a road course or something like that, and you hit the brakes and the car just kind of locks down, you start sliding. Same principle here at Bristol Motor Speedway on dirt. These guys don't want to hit the brakes because you're just going to keep sliding anyway.
Absolutely. At this point, it's just figuring out how to get around people, using your throttle to either go on the outside of them or be able to dive it down on the inside. People are having a hard time just under caution avoiding each other here, Jared.
Yeah, and we got Brian Bliss and Brad Patterson on pit road. Lane Allen had a little contact with Brian Bliss there, actually. But let's see here. So, yeah, so everything's going to be sorted out. Brian Bliss heading back under pits. Now, the other thing, if we have been remiss to mention, the tires do not wear on dirt ovals. They do not wear on iRacing currently. They don't heat up the same way they do on ovals. So changing tires isn't really something we're going to see here tonight. Anybody that's coming down pit road is just trying to get some damage fixed. I don't think fuel is going to be an issue either, but we'll have to pay attention to that and see what happens here. But I don't believe that's going to be something they'll have to wait out for.
No, I don't think we'll have to worry too much about fuel here, but what we'll have to worry about is damage. And you mentioned it already. We have guys that have decided to come down pit road to go ahead and do whatever it is they can to get some damage repaired now, while it's only 11 laps into this race, Jared.
Yeah, and the other thing too is it is difficult on pit road because these tires are extremely bouncy because of the nature they are, and you come very close, if not definitely going to lose a lap anytime you pit. So it's a gamble to go down pit road, but we're going to get them re-racked. Dale Nearad, Jared Daniels on the front row, and they'll add another caution lap here just because they have to get these lap cars toward the back. But Dale Nearad, Jared Daniels, Lane Allen, Bryant Helm, Bernard Person, Dean Doucette, Josh Mayu up into the top 10. Randy McCanny in 8th, Gary Griffith 9th, and our biggest mover of the race is Terry Cooper Jr. up 8 spots into 10th place now.
It's certainly an easy track to be able to make up positions here because it's such a small track. If someone makes a mistake, you're easily going to be able to catch up to them. So that's going to work in the favor of some of the guys here tonight, and it'll also not work well for others.
So we'll see how this all transpires here, but it is Dale Nearad, and he has been putting the gauntlet down, letting people know that he has a car to beat here tonight. Jared Daniels trying to get his first win of the season. Lane Allen trying to get his first win of the season. Brian Helm, all these guys back through here inside the top 5 trying to get their first win of the season. Dale Nearad trying to get his second, help himself a little bit here in the playoff push. But Pace Truck has made the left-hand turn, and we're back under green here at the dirt race at Bristol. Good start by Dale Nearad, and Jared Daniels stays even with him this time.
It seems like he didn't want to be caught sleeping here as Jared Daniels just took off right there and through the corner, but it didn't matter because Nearad was able to pull even with him on the back straight, and now back to the lead going into 4. But it's again, we're under caution, Jared.
I'm trying to see what the caution was for because we were looking pretty good. Looks like maybe something happened with Brian Bliss. And maybe Sherwood Williford. Let's take a look here. There's Sherwood Williford. Oh, and Rob Shoemaker just comes across the front of the 5. Hard impact for the 33 and the 7, and that's engine failure for Sherwood Williford. No doubt that 33 machine going to have some difficult times from now on here as we'll see if we can get a better look at that. But that was a hard impact for the 33.
It certainly was. We talked about how this track is hard to get around other people, and we just thought right there, caution stacked them all back up together, and that restart really was difficult for a couple of those guys. One small little mistake will take out almost 3-4 cars easy here, Jared.
You see Troy Torgerson involved there, Brian Bliss involved, because Rob Shoemaker, when he got tagged there, came back around to the front of the track. So, I mean, yes, these cars have damage and they'll keep cooking, but you can't have an engine blow up like Sherwood Williford did, because that car, it's not going to get going again if that looks as terminal as it did there on the track.
The only thing that Williford can actually hope for is that there's more cautions, because cautions mean this track is going to be longer and longer and longer, or the race is rather. May be able to get back out there. You never know though, because we definitely had to tow, and towing here is probably around about 3 minutes long just before they can even start working on the damage. Unlike the real world, you can actually repair these cars and get back out there even from the garage, if you will.
Yeah, and if that is an engine problem, that'll be about a 30-minute repair, but we'll see what happens here. Brian Bliss back on pit road. A couple other drivers have elected to come down pit road as well. But Chris, I mean, we're 18 laps into the race. The first 9 laps, I mean, this thing was going pretty good. Had an innocent little spin, and that was has kind of set us up for, you know, this breeding caution thing. But so far, these guys kind of giving each other room, but at the same time, they're trying to race, and it's been a little bit difficult at sometimes.
It certainly has, and no one here wants to be able to cause an incident early on. No one here is out maliciously trying to wreck someone else. These guys are just trying whatever they can to get position. You're still trying to fill out this track with 19 laps in. You can see in the corners where it started to wear in, but there's not a lot of room for these guys to maneuver yet.
It's going to take a little bit of time, not too much more time, but a little bit of time to get this track grooved in. But we'll try this again. Nearad, Daniels, Allen, Person, Helm, your top 5. Mayu, Doucette, McCanny, Griffith, and Chad Lang, your top 10 here at the Bristol Dirt Races. We are about ready to start. Lap number 20, getting done with our second caution here. As the pace truck will make the left-hand turn off of the banking. And we are back under green here at the Dirt Race at Bristol, and another dead heat race down to turn number 1. Great action behind them as they come up the turns. Ralph Nolan running the high side, 3 wide back there in the middle of the pack.
Oh, we're going to have a caution soon. I can feel it come in from the middle of the pack there.
You see Tracy Powers smacking the wall around a little bit too. The 45 has no deck lid. No deck lid on the 45 as he's making his way 3 wide through the middle. Donnie Staubitz and Ronnie Royal. And that car seems very quick without that on there, Chris.
At this track, there's not a lot of aero worries here. Matter of fact, that's actually probably going to help him as he's able to keep his car a little bit more cool than everyone else, Jared.
He is making some positions up to 12th place. Brian Bliss back on pit road, but Jared Daniels has taken over the lead, Chris, and these guys up front already each eking out a little bit of a lead now.
He certainly took the lead in dominating fashion on that high line, and what happened as soon as he got around Nearad? Nearad went to the high groove with him to try to figure out where he can pick up the speed to get back up there against Daniels.
Now, Chris, with this track kind of going through its early stages of wearing in, are you trying to go where the dirt is, or are you trying to go where the dirt isn't right now?
At this point, you're going to go wherever you feel like you're going to be the most comfortable. At this point, it doesn't really matter much about speed. What really matters is your comfortability. It's still early on in this race. We have 100 laps still left to go, Jared.
We got Dean Doucette that may have gotten a little bit of damage there. We'll try to get a replay on what happened to the 29 when we have an opportunity to do so. But right now, it is all Jared Daniels and Dale Nearad. Those guys already on lap traffic again. Brad Patterson and the aforementioned Dean Doucette right there in this thick.
And certainly that made things a little bit more difficult for our leader, Jared Daniels, as soon as he started to catch up to Dean Doucette, he had Dale Nearad right on his back bumper. You see getting into the back of Dean Doucette.
We were on board Jared Daniels during that. Oh, and Dean Doucette and Wayne Grossi making contact in front of him. Jared Daniels going to power move to the outside and get around both of them.
At this point, he's irritated. He's frustrated. He just lost the lead. That's what he's thinking about. Now he's got to get back up there and catch Dale. And that's not an exactly easy thing to do here. But you never know. We could see the 03 get caught behind the lap cars too, as they're still battling almost 3 wide in front of him.
Go on board Dale Nearad this time. Tony Soler with no deck lid. Rachel Hunt out here as well. Rob Shoemaker and Dale Nearad just trying to find a little bit of real estate to get around these guys, but really it's super difficult as Rachel Hunt into the wall in front of him. Jeff Winter, Jason Speer, Gary Griffith, or Bobby Terrell, I should say, all in this thick of battles, trying to stay on the lead lap right now.
Wow, this is incredible, Jared. You're seeing a lot of action right here of people that are just trying to stay out of the way. Oh, and luckily for our leader here, he's going to be able to have clear track in front of him as the cautions came out, Jared.
Caution is out. That's going to save Jeff Winter from losing another lap here. Rob Shoemaker and Rachel Hunt, unfortunately, going to be a lap down. Same with Dean Doucette, but we'll have to see what happened. Don't have any indication it was a big wreck. We will take a look here. I'm not 100% sure what this caution was for. Let's see if we can see here. Oh, there it is. Kenneth Schultz getting into the side of Terry Cooper Jr. and he gets the car going. And I'm a little surprised that was a caution.
Yeah, it certainly seems a little precarious as well, but you know, it happens, and at that point, a car was spinning on the track, so iRacing thought it would be best for our drivers and safest for our drivers to throw it.
Looking at Dean Doucette. Dean Doucette just got super loose, and that's more of an incident that should have caused the caution. Several drivers piling into him, causing a big old backup. He gets turned again. Jeff Bratton, John Held. I mean, that was, if there was a caution, that should have been the caution. Unbelievable that did not bring out a caution. Dean Doucette was bouncing around like a ping pong ball there for a minute. I don't even know how many cars hit him. Probably 10 drivers bounced into that 29 car.
Man, it almost makes me think that was the caution, because if they were slowing down there, I definitely couldn't have seen it.
Unbelievable. That was crazy. The amount of drivers that bounced into poor Dean Doucette. Nothing you could do there in that situation if you're Dean. You're just trying to get the car going again, and you know, you're kind of stuck. But 33 laps in, so you know, Chris, we're looking at about a quarter of the way through this race. This track's starting to get rubbered in pretty good. As you see the dark groove right where the pace car is running. Is that going to transition these guys to run a little bit different on this track? And maybe we'll see 2 or 3 lines really open up here.
It certainly depends on how your car's set up, Jared. If your car is set up for the slick track, you're going to want to be wherever that is the darkest on this track. If your car is set up to be a little bit more for a fresh track, you're going to try to be wherever that black is not. So if you like the slick, you're going to stay in the black. Otherwise, you're going to try to search around to find where the freshest dirt here is all night. And from looking at how the track is starting to take rubber, I'm hoping these guys picked a slick track, Jared.
Yeah, it has been intense action. Third caution of the night, not unsurprising here. It's a to be honest, I mean, these guys are NASCAR guys. A lot of these guys, I was looking through the list, a lot of them have rookie licenses in the dirt oval community on iRacing, so not a lot of experience here on dirt oval, and it's a treacherous thing. It's not a discipline that it requires a different type of driving, doesn't it, Chris?
It certainly does. A lot of people give us grief that that the NASCAR drivers only turn left and we only turn right when we get to road courses. Well, at this dirt track tonight, you got a lot of guys turning right, Jared.
Yeah, we were on board Dale Nearad and Jared Daniels in that battle earlier, and you could see how much they were on the steering wheel. But you're at the dirt tracks, Chris. As a driver, I mean, you're driving more with the throttle than you are the steering wheel. Is that correct?
Absolutely. The best way to turn around here is your throttle pedal. You're either using it to help you turn into the corner or you're using it to help get off the corner. It's a lot of different ways that you can set up a car for this track, and you'll see it as we ride along with these guys the rest of the night. A lot of different people doing a lot of different things.
We got Brett Lovings out in the chat. Thanks for joining in with us, Brett. He is rooting on Wayne Grossi out here in the number 7. So shout out to Wayne Grossi in that Pennzoil number 7. Shout out to Brett Lovins out there watching us as we're about ready to go back to green flag action here at the dirt race at Bristol. Green flag's back out, and a little bit of a slide by Dale Nearad on the bottom, but it's going to allow him to get ahead of Jared Daniels, but Daniels dives in deep in turn number 2.
These restarts have been hectic as those two have battled one another pretty exclusively for the lead on restarts, and we'll see it here. And it looks like Dale's going to be able to take it this time as he pulls away from Jared.
Lane Allen very, very loose back in the middle of this pack. Bernard Person's going to be able to get around him, but he nearly hit the end of the pit wall where the barrels are. That car, that would have been bad because his race would have probably been over at that point. Randy McCanny caught him a little bit of a slack there in the 6 car, but behind those guys are six on back. It's a gaggle, Chris. And caution's back out again.
Cautions breed cautions, and that is exactly what we're seeing here right now, Jared.
Let's see what happened here. It looks like Jeff Winter. So here's Jeff Winter running back at the back. Kind of looks like he's just taking it easy. Goes up to the high side right there in front of Dean Doucette. And Dean Doucette, little contact, nothing too bad there. Oh, and then they get together, and he gets stuck on the slick, or the cushion, I should say, and had to back up off the track, and that's what's going to bring out the caution there. But he will not lose the lap there.
That's one of the great things about this track. Even, well, as far as when it's the dirt track, it takes a little bit longer to get around here. So a lot of people will be able to spin it around like that and be able to stay on the lap that they're on. Not always the lead lap here, but definitely stay on the lap they're on.
We got Josh Hackler out in the chat now. He's rooting on Richie Coy and Tony Soler. Those guys finished second and third on Wednesday night in the truck race. Right now, give you an update on these guys, Josh, and let's take a look and see how these guys are doing out here. So Richie Coy is back in 11th place, doing a pretty good job. Started in 19th, so he's up 8 positions. And Tony Soler was involved in the first caution here tonight. He is down 16 positions in 36th position, so the 74 not having a great night here. No deck lid on the back of that 74 machine either.
Well, here we are again. We're going to have another restart. We've got Dale Nearad and Jared Daniels, who have been battling back and forth all night when it comes to the lead on these restarts. It'll be interesting to see who goes where for this restart. The low line seems to be the one that is being able to prevail at the moment, but it's not always the case. When Jared Daniels took the lead from Dale Nearad, that's where he was at. He was on the outside, Jared.
Yeah, and that's going to be really interesting to see what these guys are going to do lining up here as we're getting ready to go. Just give a quick shout out on our big mover of the race, Bill Benedict. Started 38th on the grid. He is up to 16th. He's up 22 positions. Kenneth Schultz started 29th. He's up 16 positions to 13th. So we do have some big movers. John Held started 31st. He's up to 18th. So we do have some big movers here in this race. We do have some guys dropping back. Troy Torgerson did get back on the track. He is still stuck a lap down, but he is in 32nd right now, continuing to move forward. But Dale Nearad and Jared Daniels have put on a show so far, Chris.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see if they're able to keep it up. We want to make mention for Bernard Pearson and the number 8. He's made up quite a bit of time himself. He started back in I think at the 13th position. He's now up to 3rd. That's 10 positions gained. And the easiest way to do that is to void other people, and that's what he's been able to do so far.
That's the defending champion there, Bernard Pearson, and he is moving his car forward. And doesn't look like he has a lot of damage on the 8 machine, but does maybe a little rear end damage. But overall, that's pretty clean.
Only everyone else around him would hope to stay as clean as he is right now. He did get up into the outside wall there a little bit, but nothing too bad as we went back green here.
Green flag again. Dale Nearad, Jared Daniels. Dale Nearad made that look easy this time. So he's going to pull the slide job in front of the 21, but the 21's coming back on the outside into turn 3, Chris.
He certainly is, and he may have made it look easy, but he certainly overdrove the car coming out of the corner, and you could see it there as Daniels was able to pull right back up alongside him.
Now you got Lane Allen contact. 14 and 21 as Lane Allen drove it in deep there. Jared Daniels continues to get it going.
Is definitely able to save it, and all throughout that, you saw that Allen only lost 1 position after all of that contact. That's the good thing about this track. Even though you're not going as fast, usually in the corners you're already up against the wall, and so it doesn't really hurt your car near as much.
Randy McCanney battling here, trying to get underneath Lane Allen. Josh Mayhew there. The battle for 3rd has begun. Bernard Pearson there holding on, but the battle for lead also heating up too, Chris. We got battles all over the track, honestly.
We certainly do, and it'll be interesting to see if we're able to get a quick caution here, which seems to be what we were going for the last little bit. Oh, forget that long green flag run. Who's going to be the most dominant car of the night? We've still not really seen that because it's been a tie really between Dale Nearad and Jared Daniels.
And Dale Nearad, he wants to kind of make it a little bit easier for him, getting that second win. That makes his playoff clinching a little bit easier. Jared Daniels, he just wants the opportunity right now, and he's going for the 7th different winner in 7 races here at Full Throttle Sim Racing in the Cup Series. So it has been a heck of a season, but right now Dale Nearad starting to inch away. As we look back in the middle of this pack, are battling Lane Allen underneath Bernard Person, Randy McCanny battling with Josh Mayo, and again, Lane Allen nearly into that pit wall. He's running so low.
He certainly is. And then on the flip side, you got Bernard Pearson, who's, oh, as this 14 gets around, oh, I don't know how they're able to save it there as we're still sliding. Allen is going into the corner.
Huge slide job. I don't want to call it a slide job, but that was slide something there as Lane Allen holds on to it. Tracy Powers making the 45 car stick on the outside. He's the big gainer here. And Lane Allen again nearly into the wall, and that's going to bring out another caution. We got several drivers involved. Big pile up, it looks like. Jason Speer, Troy Torgerson, Sherwood Williford all involved. Brody Hanna might have been involved as well. Let's take a look and see what happened here. So it's back a little bit further. We got Tony Soler. We got Troy Torgerson, Jason Speer, Jeff Winter. Soler hits the wall. Nothing too much here. We got something. Oh, it's Ronnie Royal. And Ronnie Royal just didn't hold the brake, it looks like, and slid back up into traffic.
Well, I think he got a little help getting around that corner in a way that he definitely did not need it. And that just stacked everyone up right here as you look at so many cars involved in this one, Jared.
Ronnie Royal, there he is. There's 4 wide, so a little tap by Kenneth Schultz. Oh, and it gets right around to Kevin Rupert, but slides right back up into the traffic. Jason Speer nowhere to go, and then Troy Torgerson involved. He slams right into Sherwood Williford, and that piles everybody up. That was a big impact, but these guys, now we're getting on about halfway. We're just shy of halfway. This race is still going pretty quick right now. Nearad, Daniels, Person, McCanny, Mayu, your top 5 is Tony Soler will get the lucky dog and get that 74 car. I believe he will go to 2 laps down now. I think, yes, 2 laps down. Or 1 lap down. He'll go to 1 lap down.
Certainly a crazy caution that we had there, Jared. Certainly a lot of guys caught up with it, and their nights have been, I wouldn't say ruined for the rest of the night, but it's certainly been changed for the rest of the night.
Torgerson, that car damaged beyond repair. He is out of the race. Sure, Williford's out of the race. James Torrey ended up not making the start, so he is, I guess, technically out of the race as well. Brian Bliss on pit road. He is down 6 laps as he's trying to get that car repaired and get back out here and pick up some valuable points. But right now, just 3 retirements: Torgerson, Williford, and Beck, the only 3 drivers officially out of the race right now.
One interesting to note is that you're looking at the top 8, I believe 9 and 10 have not pitted for damage at all so far. And there's a bunch of guys that wish that they were so lucky.
That is very true. We're about ready to go back to green, but you know, you're looking at Dean Doucette. He finished 40th last week at Atlanta, and right now he's on track for a 37th or so position tonight. So a tough couple weeks for 2-time Cup Series champion as the pace truck off, and we are back under green here at the Dirt Race of Bristol, and a good start by Jared Daniels and Dale Nearad drag racing into turn 1. Contact Bernard Person, Josh Mayu into 3. Mayu trying to get to 3rd, and Josh Mayu in the 51. He's going to go to 3rd place.
Not quite yet. Pearson's battling back on that outside. As you see, he's able to pull a little bit ahead right after the line. And then coming out on the backstretch, the 51's able to pull even with him again. It's a very tight battle there, and also for the lead as it's heating up as well, Jared.
Jared Daniels, Dale Nearad, as we look out the front of Dale Nearad on that bumper cam, and Jared Daniels run the high side. That truck really slicking in now all over. Jared Daniels holding on the outside right now as they're still side by side. Mayu goes to 3rd, Bernard Person drops to 4th, and Randy McCanny is holding on to 5th place, battling right behind him, Tracy Powers, that 45 car, no front end, no rear end, and we're back under caution. Steve Loomis appears to be the driver involved this time. Let's see what happens here. Steve Loomis, there's Brody Hanna on the bottom here. Steve Loomis all the way coming into turn 3. So here he is, blue car 17. Oh, contact with the 91. Spins it completely around, and that just comes right back up in the track. Looks like Ronnie Royal might have had some contact with him as well. We've seen a lot of those very minor incidents here tonight that have brought out the caution. Not too many major incidents, only a couple of those.
Yeah, certainly it's just a myriad of small incidents. We have only had a couple big crashes, I would say, including the one before this. But this one was a pretty small one. It seems like everyone was able to get around easily on the inside. That's the difference between this caution and the last, Jared. Last caution, you had guys that were stuck on the inside and the outside, so there was really nowhere for a lot of guys to go. Whereas this one, everyone was on the outside, so you were able to just slow down, back it through, and keep from hitting anyone going into the corner.
So right now, Daniels holding on to lead. We are now about ready to pass over halfway. So Jared Daniels leading right now. Dale Nearad, Josh Mayer, your top 3. Wanted to check in on Wayne Grossi. He has moved up to 32nd position. So we have a couple guys in the chat here tonight. Brett Lovings, Josh Hackler, and Wayne Grossi. Brett Lovins following him out there. Wayne Grossi in 32nd position. Started 30th, so he's kind of been right around where he's been out tonight. He has currently shown 1 lap down, but if we get one more caution, he should be the lucky dog. So that is provided he's not involved in the accident, which is easier said than done here tonight.
I was about to say, don't jinx the man there, Jared.
That's true. Very true.
It seems like the only way to be completely avoiding the wrecks at this point is to be either named Daniels or Nearad, but it's still early in this race, even though it's 64 laps in.
So hold on, you told me not to jinx it, then you're just throwing out the race leaders. Hey, don't get in a wreck, race leaders. You haven't been in one yet.
Well, you know, Mayhew, Pearson, McCanny, Powers, Allen, they're all looking for that wreck. So they'll be welcoming for it. Hopefully it doesn't happen for our top 2, but you know they're the ones who've got the cleanest lap so far, and the easiest way to do that has been to be out front and away from other people.
You know, Chris, I'm looking at these cars as they go around. Jared Daniels, Dale Nearad, those cars look very clean. You can tell they're Fords and Toyotas. Look at Josh Mayu. I don't know what brand of car he is unless it told me on my timing and scoring that he's a Chevrolet. That car caked in mud.
It certainly is, and you know, you look a little bit farther back at the other cars, and it's not even the mud that makes it where you can't tell. It's the damage. I mean, you got cars out there that look like crumpled Coke cans at this point.
Some taking a little inspiration from the modified series are a lot of these cars tonight, as we're about ready to restart after our 6th caution here. 65 laps in the book, 60 to go. Daniels and Nearad have been the dominators, but now we have some other comers coming, and the pace truck is off. Green flag back out again here at the dirt race at Bristol. Good start by Dale Nearad on the high side.
Ooh, Allen got a terrible restart as he actually made contact with the 96 coming through the corner there.
Lane Allen trying to hold on for what it's worth now. Bernard Person in the wall just in front of him. And we got a battle for second place. Josh Mayu in the 51. Looking
Mayhew's
underneath.
tired of all that mud on the front of his car and would like to see some clean air as he powers around Jared Daniels on the inside.
So the 51, who had a top 10 run going last week at Atlanta, caught up in a wreck at the end of that race, and he is out here tonight putting on a clinic. That 51 car won the season opening race at Daytona with Brandon Elder in the machine, and tonight Josh Mayu making it proud in the 51, trying to hold the bottom, just can't quite get the run off. Jared Daniels back to second.
Certainly looks like he got caught a little bit in the fresh dirt bound below in there, and Daniels was able to get around him as we've got another caution, Jared.
Another caution, and this has been difficult for these guys lately here. Let's see what happened here.
It certainly has. This league is notorious for going for long green flag runs. That's not the case here tonight, Jared, as they're tackling dirt, and we know that these traditionally asphalt cup guys are having a rough go at it.
Brian Helm looks to be involved in this accident. So Brian Helm underneath John Held. Oh, John Held just gets loose off the turn. Hard impact into the 26 and tagged around. Luckily, more drivers not involved in that wreck, but tough break for Brian Helm. That's going to bring out our next caution. And we've seen that happen a lot, but it just, you know, we saw this happen in the truck series, but the cars were a lot easier to hold on to than they are tonight. You get tagged in the back end, and these things just go completely around. So that will be caution number 7 here, as we are just past halfway. But now we're looking at this 55 lap range here tonight, Chris. And you got to think that, you know, these guys that don't have any damage, they want this thing to go a little bit quicker.
They certainly do, because for them, if they can get a green flag run, they can actually put a bunch of more cars a couple of laps down, and that's actually what will help them here. I know it doesn't seem like it because they'll still be on the track with them, but at that point, they're more likely to give them a little bit more room as they're passing them.
Yeah, exactly right. And we're going to be pacing here, but what a charge by Mayu to get to 3rd place, and now he's got a little bit, I wouldn't say cleaner air, but he's got a little bit different look now. He doesn't have to start on the outside. He'll be starting on the inside this time around. What can that 51 car do to get up there and compete with the 03 and the 21 here?
Well, we saw it there on that last restart. Being aggressive on the start was able to help him be able to get up to where he is now. He was even in second there for a while. The biggest issue for him is that once he got to second, he was still trying to do that very low line. And unfortunately, the car caught and slowed him down a lot and was able to let Daniels get back around him. So that's the hard thing here. Now that the track's slick, really slick, people are starting to search around for a little bit more grip in different areas, and that's what we saw him do there. So he's got to be able to keep it in that slick and not break into that fresh dirt down there, which really caught him and slowed him down a lot.
Yeah, that's going to be something we're going to have to look at as this track continues to develop. And we're on the back half of the race now. But it's been Jared Daniels and Dale Nearad leading this thing up here tonight. But we do have some new faces up here. Even Chad Lane, shout out to the 41 car, getting himself up into the top 10 after getting shuffled back. He doesn't have a rear deck lid. A lot of these guys don't have rear deck lids on this car. I think, and I could be mistaken, in real life NASCAR, I think you do have to have one of those on there no matter what. But in iRacing, it doesn't matter.
Not in iRacing, definitely in real life, but that's okay. He doesn't need a rear deck lid here. Not hurting the car any. I mean, there's plenty of other crumpled Coke cans out there as well.
Race truck makes the left-hand turn. Green flag back out again, and a good start by Jared Daniels on the bottom, but Dale Nearad prevails. Side by side into 2. Josh Mayu looking to get involved as well, the 51.
As they head into 3, Nearad's going to try to peek below Daniels here to try to get the lead back. Good run on the center of the corner, but unfortunately can't do anything with Daniels on that outside lane.
Battling back a little bit further, Chad Lang was in the middle in the sandwich. Andrew Palicki making a move inside the top 10, battling with Richie Coy there. Tracy Powers there as well, as it's starting to heat up in the middle of the pack. The battle for the lead as well going on, as Randy McCanney making his way underneath Mayu.
Side by side as they go into 3 and 4. The outside groove has prevailed so far. Being able to pull off the corner means a lot here, but it didn't help right there as McKinney was able to drive off the corner a little bit better than Mayhew.
And yellow flag right back where we were looking at. And unfortunately, it's going to take in, it looks like Richie Coy. So the 19 has got some damage. Let's see what happens to Richie here. He's on the inside there. Andrew Palicki on the outside, sliding through there. And looks like some contact. Gary Griffith, he locks it down, slides the car back around, but he's already hit the wall pretty hard. with the front end on that 19. So tough break for the 19, but at least, you know, he held the brake down, didn't come back across the track like we've seen other people do there.
Well, and even more importantly there, Jared, you can actually see that he continued to drive that car all the way through the wreck as he was even in reverse there, and that's how he was able to prevent it from going back up at the track and get it pointed in the right direction quickly and continue going.
That's crucial, but unfortunately he's going to drop out of the top 10 and drop all the way back into, it looks like 27th, last car on the lead lap or second to last car on the lead lap.
I know it still doesn't seem like it, but we're only on lap 78, Jared. There's still a lot of time for these drivers to get back up there. So I wouldn't count anyone that's on the lead lap right now out of it.
I see that modified going on the outside. That's Wayne Grossi in the 7. He is going to get back on the lead lap. So Wayne Grossi in the 7 car will be back on the lead lap here tonight. So that will leave us with 30 vehicles on the lead lap. We got something going on pit road here. Not sure what's going on there, but we have engine hung up on the pit road, it sounds like.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like someone seems to be stuck in neutral as they're trying to get out.
There it goes.
Oh, and on my end, it looks like the 71 is still on the inside wall trying to get off of it.
And I'm getting word that Casey McMullen had a computer issue happen. So I think that was the car that was making that noise. It sounded like, from what I'm hearing, is Casey McMullen, the 71, that his computer has crashed. So that is what happened to the 71. And he has gotten that car back to pit road, thankfully. So unfortunate for Casey McMullen running inside the top 15.
It's certainly rough to have that happen. I've experienced it myself in a number of races, and you know there's nothing that you can necessarily do about it. In certain areas, you're already running on the best internet that you possibly can, so you hate it for the driver, but there's nothing that can happen. I mean, it's just a mechanical failure of a different sort in these cars.
We will get this thing going back to green flag racing here in just a moment. 44 laps to go here tonight in the dirt race at Bristol. Jared Daniels on the inside, Dale Nearad on the outside, Mayu McCanny in row number 2, Person and Lang in row number 3, and we're back under green at the dirt race. And a good start by the 03. Contact by the leaders, and Jared Daniels going to win out there. Dale Nearad sliding backwards between those two drivers. Heavy in impact.
Furthest that we've seen Nearad back all night. It'll be interesting to see how he's able to bounce back from that contact. And it seems like they're still not done wrecking or touching and bumping in front of them as well.
Josh Mayu, Chad Lang battling for second place right now. Jared Daniels trying to squeak out. Nearad sticking it through the middle and nearly gets into the side of the 6. We got a battle on our hands now, Chris.
We certainly do. These guys now understand that there's less than half the lap or race to go, and you can't hang around in the back. You got guys that are hungry to be up in front for the first time tonight, and they're showing it here right now, Jared.
Chad Lang to second place. Mayu into the wall. He's going to get passed by McCanny and Nearad, but they're 3 wide for third. And caution's out. Again, it's Tim Bills and Kevin Sargent involved. Holy cow, we needed that a little bit needed that caution. I had to catch my breath.
Absolutely. For a moment there, I was afraid we were about to have one between Nearad, Mayhew, and McCanny as well, but it seems like they got saved just in the nick of time.
So let's take a look at that replay here. So we got Kevin Sargent. Tim Bills just in front of him. 3 wide. Oh, Jason Speer comes down the track, and it's just an accordion. Impact for Kevin Sargent, impact for Tim Bills, and brings out our 8th caution of the night. And Chris, you know, you look at some of these guys, they're having troubles. You look at Casey Mullen, came in the points 3rd here tonight. Dean Doucette, who won 2 weeks ago, has had some bad races. He was in the top 10. He's in 36th right now. Jason Speer was in 5th place in points coming in, 33rd on the track tonight. This dirt race has really shaked things up a little bit here.
It certainly has. This is a brutal track, Jared, and you're seeing it here as a lot of our would-be favorites are just not being able to be in the right place at the right time to get around these cautions or to prevent themselves. It's a difficult track, and we're definitely seeing it here tonight.
So we're working our 9th caution. We have 38 laps to go here at Bristol. Jared Daniels is in the lead. Chad Lang is in 2nd. Those two guys haven't won yet. McKinney and Nearad, they're 3rd and 4th. Those guys have won. And then Josh Mayu on back have not won inside the top 10. So Mayu Person, the defending champion. Tracy Powers in 7th. Lane Allen, Andrew Palicki, one of the rookies, up to 9th place. Gary Griffith in 10th. A lot of new drivers in that top 10. We saw Palicki having a great run in the Truck Series before a late race incident took him out of contention. And the 96 car has had to come from 11th place, but he's finally got that thing up to 9th. But Chris, I want to focus on one driver in particular, Bill Benedict. Had kind of a rough heat race. He is up 27 positions here tonight into 11th place, and just behind him is Bobby Terrell, who is up 20 positions into 12th place. These are the kind of races you need to be a contender in the championship.
Absolutely. Every single point matters. We found out that a little bit last week when we were at Atlanta, but certainly seeing it here tonight as the guys that are needing the good nights may not necessarily get one. It's good to see that a couple of our points leaders are top.
Exactly right, Chris, and it's going to be one of those things we see as the season goes on, that this race, could be important in the grand scheme of things. Also, shout out to Kevin Rupert in that number 1. He is up 22 positions in 14th. So a lot of big movers there in the middle of this field here tonight. Jared Daniels, though, on point. Chad Lang in 2nd. These two guys looking to grab a race win. Chad Lang running that throwback from Fred Lorenzen was ran in the last dirt race here in NASCAR. That was at North Carolina Fairgrounds. Doing a throwback scheme, but the pace truck off, green flag back out again. Jared Daniels leads him away. This time Nearad with a better start on the outside, and Chad Lang didn't get quite going on the inside, and they're stacking up behind him.
Nearad knows that his best chance to be able to get back up into that 2nd position is to go as hard as he can, and you see it there as he bounces on the outside wall.
Person up into the wall. Lane Allen gets into him. They're 3 wide back there. Griffith on the bottom, Allen on the top, Mayu with the sandwich.
And all this is going along while Lang is trying to take the lead away from Daniels. And it seems like he's going to be able to do it coming off of 2.
Chad Lang to the point, trying to be at the point. Now Nearad and Daniels fighting on the outside. We got battles all over the place, but we'll focus on the lead. Daniels is going to lead that lap. Lang got loose off the corner.
Oh, but then Daniels catches the outside wall in the middle of the corner, and Lang is right back in it as they're going into 3.
And don't look now, but Randy McCanny catching up to Dale Nearad. Dale Nearad in the 03 looks to be struggling just a little bit on this run as this track continues to wear in. Chad Lang trying to throw that car in there. He's heat winner number 3 here tonight. Nearad was number 2, and Jared Daniels is number 1. Ironically, these guys back to the front. Oh, and contact between the 21 and the 41. Chad Lang to the point because of it.
Oh, and a bad corner for Daniels as he gets smacked by the number 6 of McCanny.
Jared Daniels drifting further back, and this is going to be heartbreak for the 21, but still a lot of time in the race to go. 31 laps to go as he's dropped back to 5th place just behind Bernard Person, and Randy McCanny now on the bottom trying to hold on to 3rd place. But the battle is in the middle here. Daniels, Allen, Griffith, Palicki, Mayu, and Bill Benedict, and Chris, they're just getting all over each other back here.
Absolutely. This is definitely a Bristol race, and Rubbin is racing, and you're seeing it here. These guys know that they can be a little bit more aggressive. These cars are a little bit more durable because you're slipping and sliding everywhere, and they're trying to use every inch of the track, the wall, and their opponents to get around.
And we got another caution, which is probably good for Jared Daniels. This time it looks like it's 10 bills possibly. we go. 10 Bills on the bottom of the track here. Got Rob Shoemaker in here. Wayne Grossi is in here. And Rob Shoemaker just gets into the back of him and they hook. And then Brian Bliss, Wayne Grossi, both of those guys just nowhere to go. Both heavy contact there, but that's a misfortune there for 10 Bills. It looked like the cars just got hooked together and nothing Rob Shoemaker could do at that point, and heavy contact for the 77.
Certainly, and we talked about it a little bit. This is going to be the best news possible for Jared Daniels. He's got a decision to make, though. Do you go down to pit road and fix a little bit of that damage that you just got?
I think that's a gamble. I think if you're on the lead lap, I don't think you can pit. I don't think you have enough time to get back in and out off pit road. We have 29 drivers on the lead lap right now. So you're looking at Patterson, Loomis, Bliss. Those guys maybe come down and pit, but we do have Rob Shoemaker deciding to go to pit road, though. So I guess I was wrong.
Well, Daniels decided to stay out. It'll be interesting to see. He took a huge hit to that front end. Doesn't have a bumper there at all. It'll be interesting to see if he has any engine issues. Yep, you don't need all of the horsepower here at this track because you're just using it to slide around. But you still got to be able to get up off the corners and be able to make it down the straights somewhat competitively.
Well, Chris, you bring up a good point. The other point of that is a little front end damage can cause these cars to overheat as if they don't already because of that dirt.
And it's also going to be interesting because he's in the farthest back in the pack he's been basically all night. Between him and Nirad, they're both made mistakes here in this middle part of the race, and it's really put a bunch of new people up in the front that we weren't expecting to see.
Well, Chris, you look at Jared Daniels, kind of a rough few laps there. We went about 17 green flag laps there, which is one of our longer runs of the night, or second longest run of the night. If you're Jared Daniels, you got bounced around a little bit, little contact for lead, little contact with Dale Nearad, little contact with the wall. How do you regain some composure, get facing the right direction, and try to make something happen in these last 25 laps? Because you got 4 drivers you're going to have to get around now.
Well, at this point, you're taking a deep breath because at one hand, you know that the incident wasn't exactly on purpose. It was actually a mistake by Daniels that put him in that situation when he caught the wall. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had Lang in front of him. So now you're going to do whatever it takes to be able to calm yourself back down. Yes, there's only 25 laps to go. There's only 4 guys in front of you, Jared. We've seen people make mistakes here. He doesn't necessarily need to make any more, but he can have the guys in front of him make all the mistakes as long as he's able to avoid them.
That's a really good point, and he's going to have to find some composure. He's got his team owner and teammate on the outside of him, the 12 of Gary Griffith. So a little bit of comfort there to have somebody that you race with a little bit there. But right now, Chad Lang will be the guy on point. Dale Nearad on the outside. Randy McCanney third. Bernard Person fourth. And the pace truck down the way. And we're back under green here at the Bristol Dirt Race. 25 laps to go.
Nearad looking to take the lead back over from Lang as he goes on the outside, gets a great run. Oh, they make a little bit of contact in the corner, but they're staying even as we come down the backstretch.
And we talked about the teammates. Good to have teammates. They were leaning on each other back there, Chris. We were focused on the lead, but Jared Daniels leaned on Gary Griffith, and my goodness, they nearly wrecked each other.
8 tires turn better than 4 on asphalt. Why wouldn't they here, right?
I think you get a couple other guys on the outside. You get 12 guys, 12 car tires, I should say. As Chad Lang gets out to the lead, but Jared Daniels trying to get that car back under control. Gary Griffith losing some spots here. Lane Allen underneath of him, and Andrew Palicki.
Daniels is having a real tough time. His car's handling a lot different than it did at the beginning of this race. So he's having to search around to figure out what at this point is broken and damaged and where he can go to make this car get around here quicker as he touches Pearson in the middle of the corner.
Person contact between Person and Daniels. Person in the 8 as Person gets back into him. And Palicki's going to go down pit road, I believe. That's the back stretch. That's going to be a black flag for the 96. He's caught up in the middle, and we got a gaggle of drivers here. And I don't want to speculate, but that looked like a little bump and run by the 8.
As we saw earlier in the real life NASCAR race here, the bump and run at Bristol has definitely become popular again, and you saw it there, and it almost caused a lot of drivers a lot more positions than it did.
That is going to allow McCanny and Nearad to kind of scoot away from these guys. Person now battling with Lane Allen as he gets up into the wall. We got Lane Allen, Gary Griffith here. That's a battle for fourth place. Allen trying to get underneath Person. He's going to get a look in turn 3.
And Daniels had to go 3 wide back in the middle of the pack. They're still 3 wide, almost 4 wide coming out of the 4th turn.
Let's look back here. Mayu in there, Powers in there, Kenneth Schultz in there. This is a battle for the back half of the top 10. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. All together, Kenneth Schultz contact with the wall. Hard impact. And he gets it going again. We're going to stay green. He almost came into Ralph Nolan. Contact behind there. John Held and Donnie Staubitz doing the 8 is better than 4, but it was more like 12 better than 8 there. Holy cow, we got all kinds of stuff going on.
People are running into each other and hitting the wall all over the track, Jared. It's hard to figure out where to take a look as we have a huge battle going on everywhere basically on track.
Chad Lang back to the lead, but Dale Nearad trying to catch up to him. Some lap traffic on the track. Kevin Sargent on pit road, looking a little bit further back. Bill Benedict, our big mover of the race, up into 7th place. Him and Bobby Terrell battling each other out. Bobby Terrell is going to take over that position, move him up to 7th place. Jared Daniels coming back into vengeance, and man, he's got to be hot, fuming under the collar.
You can definitely see it right there as he definitely overdrove the entry to that corner. He's doing whatever he can to get back up to the top 5 at least. At this point, he's doing as much as he possibly can, and he'll get another chance as we stack him up here again, Jared.
Brian Helm looks like he might have been the driver involved in that wreck, but holy cow, that was some tough racing out there. And let's see what happened to Brian Helm. He's coming off, there's the front straightaway, so he's coming into turn 1. He's on the bottom of the track, just looks good now. He's battling with John Held and some front straightaway contact. Oh man, we've seen that a couple times tonight. Front straightaway contact. I'm a little surprised that caused the caution, but it did. So Brian Helm will bring out our 10th caution of the night here. And now, Chris, we're going to have under 10 to go here.
I'd say it'll be a 10-lap shootout, but we have no clue here. We're stacking them all up together. Now we have Daniels that is the closest he's been in recent laps to being up front. So you know he's going to do whatever he can to be aggressive to get back into at least the top 5. Everyone needs these points, and you're going to see it here. They've been aggressive all night. Why would they do anything different now with 10 to go, Jared?
Well, we do have something interesting, Chris. I'm looking down on pit road. I want to confirm Josh Mayu has decided to come into pit road. 14.4 second stop, so he did get the car tires changed, and he's going to remain on the lead lap. That is a mighty gamble, and 11 laps to go. He's going to drop all the way back to 24th position.
Yeah, that's definitely a gamble. He might have had some damage that he needed to repair. He could have been a little down on power, but he wasn't in the pits long enough to get it repaired unless he just saw that the pace car was coming and had to dip out of there as quickly as possible.
All right, well, we're about ready to start this thing back up again. Chad Lang leading, Dale Nearad 2nd, Randy McCanny in 3rd, Lane Allen 4th, Gary Griffith in 5th. Chris, if you're Chad Lang, you opened up a gap, and this thing was looking pretty good for you. Now you have to go back and do it again. What is going through Chad Lang's mind right now with 10 laps to go?
At this point, it's all about being able to get off to a good start here. We've seen that unlike the asphalt tracks and normal ovals, you don't really get a huge advantage by leaving a little bit early on the guy beside you. Because at this track, you're both going to be spinning your tires just a little bit. So that's one thing to watch here. Who is able to get the power on the restart there to be able to get to turn 1 first? That's going to be a big advantage, whoever can get to that first corner. However, whoever's on the outside, which will be Dale Nearad in this case, will be able to get the run off of the corner here. So it's going to be all about deciding where it is that you want to go here. If you're going to block, Lang was going to have to make that decision pretty quickly as we're about to go green here.
Pace lights are off. 9 laps to go, so they will get 8 laps to go when we get the green flag. Lang, Nearad, McCanny, Allen, Griffith, Person, Terrell, Benedict, Daniels, and Powers, your top 10. Coy, Cooper, Bratton just outside the top 10, looking for more. Brody Hanna up to 13th, Tony Soler in 14th, and Ronnie Royal in 15th right now, as we're about ready to get this thing going here tonight. Again, 9 laps to go. Pace truck is off. Green flag is back out, and a good start by Dale Nearad on the outside. Chad Lang can't get the throttle down, and Nearad's going to clear him going into 1.
Yeah, Lang was spinning his tires there, just couldn't get a good start. Tried to take it a little bit before they were straight, and you saw it. Oh,
big contact back here. Cooper, Benedict, everybody. Holy cow, that was a rough accident, and that's what happens when everything got stacked up.
Gotta hate it for Bill Benedict there. He was up 30 positions before that, and right there, he lost every single one of them.
Hey, look, Brody Hanna there in the middle of this pack. Here's Cherry Cooper, comes down the track. Ooh, hard impact. Ronnie Royal, hard impact to John Held, and it just kind of catapults everybody. And right in front of him, Bill Benedict slamming the wall. Let's see if we can get a better look at Bill Benedict and see what happened there.
It looks like Jeff Daniels' night was not quite over when it comes to being involved with contact with other cars.
It looks like that whole thing stacked up with Gary Griffith and company. Oh, Jared Daniels, their teammate, into Bill Benedict, and that's what destroyed the car. So we had 2 different incidents going on the track, and that is heartbreaking for the 90 of Bill Benedict.
And Benedict was definitely not happy. There is white smoke trailing from that car, Jared.
White smoke, black smoke, and pretty soon no smoke, because that car is going to be probably with some significant damage. But now we get to do it again. Chad Lang going to get that advantage here, and somebody was pointing out Josh Mayhew with a quick pit stop under that last caution. I'm really surprised that he was able to get down and away without going a lap down. But Mayhew, because of that pit stop, has only gained 1 position. We didn't go back to green very much, but he is in 21st. Wayne Grossi in 20th now, thanks to those wrecks. So, you talk about guys getting back on the lead lap. It's really paid off for Wayne Grossi. He was trapped in the mid-30s all night, and now all of a sudden he's looking to finish inside the top 20 because of these cautions.
Absolutely. It's going to be a tight battle here. It looks like we're going to end up having about a 4-lap shootout, 3-lap shootout, actually. It's going to be a non-overtime green-white checkered.
Yeah, it is. And now, if you're Chad Lang, you were talking earlier, the mindset, get into turn 1 first. Well, you didn't get it done on the last restart. Does that play into your psyche, thinking about what happened on the last restart as we go into this next restart?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing that's going to help Lang is that he's not on the inside. I really think that the inside groove on this restart is actually going to be a bit of a disadvantage.
And the thing, we've seen that all night, Chris, and these guys do have the ability on the front row to choose what lane they want. And I'm really surprised that they've lined up as is all night and nobody's gone to the outside. Maybe Dale Nearad will change it up and go to the outside this time, but we haven't seen it yet.
No, we haven't, and it actually looks like we are going to go for a overtime finish here, Jared.
Let's see here. It is not officially an overtime finish. It's going to be a natural green-white checker, but if there is 1 caution here in the group, there will be 1 more attempt at a green-white checker finish. So it's Nearad, Lang, McCanny, your top 3, Allen, Griffith, Person, Terrell, Coy, Bratton, and Cooper, your top 10. Pace truck makes the left-hand turn. Lang closes up the gap a little bit better this time. Green flag is out, and they're a dead heat. Oh, Lang doesn't get a good start again.
No, he doesn't. Spun his tires and just kept on spinning, and that's going to give Nearad a huge advantage going down the back straight.
Nearad has got it. Oh, Lang into the wall. Lane Allen up to 3rd place. McCanny trying to hold on to 4th. Coming
Lang
off.
is doing.
Go ahead.
Lang is doing everything he can to catch back up to Nearad. As you saw, he's going a different line than Nearad into the corner, as Allen is way high into the corner.
McCanny trying to stay in second. Final lap here at the Bristol Dirt Race. Nearad in second. Lang is catching him. Lang can't get it done. It's going to be Dale Nearad grabbing the victory in the first Cup race on dirt. And his second victory of the season. Chad Lang will come up a bridesmaid, and Randy McCanny will grab third position. Gary Griffith salvages fourth place. Lane Allen will grab fifth. Person drops to sixth. Terrell, Cooper, and Richie Coy 8th, 9th, and 10th. And Jeff Bratton will finish the last car in the top 10. Holy cow, Chris, I don't even know what to say about the finish there, but Dale Nearad getting it done, grabbing his second victory of the year. And he had to really work for it tonight.
He certainly did. This was an incredible race all night long. Definitely a difficult one. You could see a lot of guys that we expected that were going to be up there at the end just fall off. And honestly, this has been an incredible race. Caution filled, sure, but it's definitely been action-packed. There was times where you couldn't figure out where the best action was on this track.
Yeah, exactly. We had some great green flag runs there for a little bit that really stacked this thing up, and a lot of things happening in this race. But Dale Nearad grabbing the victory. Lang and McCanny, we'll hear from those guys. Looking outside the top 10, Palicki will recover for 11th. Tracy Powers 12th. Donnie Staubitz 13th. Helm 14th. Soler 15th. Mayu with those fresh tires, it didn't pay off for him. Only got 16th out of it. Nolan 17th. Ronnie Royal 18th. Wayne Grossi will grab a top 20. And Kevin Rupert rounds out our top 20 here tonight. We look on further back through our results here. Tim Bills, John Held, and Jared Daniels accident on the last lap there. He's going to finish 23rd. So everybody else will finish one lap down. But Chris, I mean, this is going to shake up the points quite a bit here tonight.
It certainly will. The person that's going to benefit the most out of this is going to be Bobby Terrell. I believe he's going to be able to pull a little bit more on his lead on Terry Cooper Jr. But it's definitely a tie race between those two after tonight.
Let's take a look at those point standings. You see Dale Nearad doing the Polish victory lap around the track. Bobby Terrell gains 1 point on Terry Cooper, so it's up to 6. And now Dale Nearad jumps 5 positions into third place in the points. Ronnie Royal 4th, and Richie Coy up to 5th. Bernard Person, Casey Mullen, Gary Griffith, Lane Allen, Jason Speer, your top 10. But a lot of movers and shakers. Dean Doucette and Jeff Winter, the biggest ones there, dropping back outside of the top 10 into 14th and 15th. Randy McCanny with a solid run moving up to 16th. Chad Lang up into the top 20 now with his second place. But that is kind of looking at our unofficial standings here. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to hear from our top 3 finishers here tonight at the Dirt Race at Bristol. All right, we're back live here at Bristol Motor Speedway, where we had an exciting first race on dirt with the Cup cars, and Dale Nearad grabs the second victory of the year for him, the first driver to do so this season, and that's got to be huge for Dale Nearad looking ahead to the rest of the schedule. He's got a little bit of buffer now on some of these other drivers.
That's certainly going to be an advantage for him leaving this track. Points matter. You want to be as far away from other people as you possibly can. Wins are certainly the easiest way to do that, Jared.
Yeah, exactly right. And let's get into our interviews here. I'm sitting down here on the pit wall with the number 6 of Randy McCanney. Randy, congratulations on a podium finish. And we were talking in pre-race. You said you weren't looking forward to it. You got to be pretty happy finishing third, man.
Oh, very happy. That was a very eventful night.
Yeah, I mean, you started in 5th place, but I believe you dropped back a little bit, and you were back to the front. And you watched Jared Daniels and Dale Nearad just battle it out from the beginning of this race at the beginning, and you were kind of battling with Bernard Person, and you were battling with Lane Allen. Take us through that race in the middle of the pack there at the front of the field.
At the beginning, the track was so tacky that the setup we had was for the slick track, so it was pretty tight. It was just pretty much rooting and grinding, trying to get any spot you could, trying to hold your line. It was pretty intense there at the beginning.
Yeah, and you worked your way through there. Had some contact in this race. It looked like contact was unavoidable, as it was a full contact event out there tonight at Bristol.
Oh, absolutely. I tried to move the wall a couple times. That didn't work. But yeah, it was everybody pretty aggressive racing and definitely full contact.
Well, Randy, you won at the Daytona Road Course. You grabbed a big third place run here tonight. Moved yourself back up into well inside the top 20 in points. Heading into next week, going to Auto Club, a track that was canceled in real life, but FTSR is going to head there. How are you feeling about running that 2-mile old track after running a track that like Bristol here tonight on dirt?
Definitely looking forward to it. As you know, we got a good piece for that. Started working on that setup. I feel very confident with Auto Club for next week, and just trying to plug away, get some more points, get closer to the chase. Then I'll feel more comfortable in top 10.
All right, Randy. Well, congratulations on your podium finish. I'm going to turn it over to you and let you have the last word, man.
All right, first I got to thank you guys, Full Throttle TV. Great broadcast. Thanks, Chris, for jumping on and helping you out, Jared. Thanks for all the setup help, Jared. And I got to thank Chad Lang. He actually sent me little tweaks to the setup right before the race, and man, that thing on a slick track was just awesome. But that was all his setup. He definitely earned that for me.
Well, there you have it, Chris. Randy McCanney grabbing third place, moving back up into the top 20 here. And I believe you're sitting down on the pit wall with our runner-up and a little bit maybe disappointed, number 41, Chad Lang.
Chad, you brought the home to the number 41 in the second position tonight, but it definitely seemed like you had an opportunity there to take the lead. Take us through your race and how it unfolded.
Oh, it was more of a long run car. It took too long to get going off of restarts. That was the biggest thing with that car tonight.
I can definitely could have seen that just from looking at that last little bit there. Is there anything that you could have done to maybe get up to Dale at the end?
If we had about 4 or 5 more laps, I probably could have did it.
Absolutely. Just like everyone else, it seems like in the field, you had a little bit of damage to get to where you finished. Is there any incidences that you felt like that you were a part of that were maybe self-inflicted there?
I caught the outside wall a couple times really early in the race just because the car wasn't where I needed it to be, and I was just overdriving it, just trying to hold position.
Certainly. So next week we take a little bit of a break from the short track of Bristol and head to Auto Club Speedway. Are you, after a long night like tonight, are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it, but I'm also looking forward to getting back to the short tracks as well.
Absolutely. After a great performance here tonight, who is it that helps you get to and from the track? Any sponsors, family, friends you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, there's the guys in our alliance, and Jared here, and my teammate Chris, and everybody that helps support our team.
Absolutely. With a name like Chris, you know they're going to be a good guy. As I share that name too. Uh, it definitely was an interesting night, a long night. Glad to see that you were able to bring it home second. Looking forward to watching for you at Auto Club next week. And Jared, I believe you've caught up with our winner, Dale Nearhead.
Yeah, I'm down here in Victory Lane with the man of the hour, the 03 Dale Nearad, grabbing his second career victory in Full Throttle Sim Racing and grabbing the inaugural dirt race win, the first time the Cup cars have been on dirt. Congratulations, Dale, on an epic performance in the heat and then coming back and backing it up in the feature.
Thank you, Jaron. I guess I threw out that take it easy out of the window there. I knew it was going to be a wreck fest anyway with all the cautions and everything. But overall, we had some really good racing up front too with Chad Lang. We got Jared Daniels. We were battling out. It was completely hectic.
Yeah, let's talk about the majority of this race. About 100 laps, you and Jared Daniels, you were the guys up front battling. There was really nobody else there battling with you in this race at all tonight until pretty much the end. Chad Lang kind of stuck up there and got up there with you. But the 21, the 03, you guys were the guys battling with each other all night.
Yeah, most definitely there. I forgot to say. I think it all depends.
Yeah, you guys were really battling each other hard. How difficult was it to pass out there? Because it looked like you guys were just kind of mapping each other out, and we're actually kind of pulling out a lead there a little bit.
I mean, just racing between the two grooves, it was kind of like a back and forth, like going in the curves. The inside was the place to be as you scooch out. But then all of a sudden, the high line, you get that huge run as expected on the high line. And then we're back to side by side right on the corner there. It's just a complete loop with all of that.
And we saw you guys through one of the runs caught some lap traffic, and you were able to get around Jared Daniels. How difficult was it when you did? I mean, the race didn't play out to have too much long green flag runs tonight, but how difficult was it to try to get around the lap traffic when there was such a pace discrepancy between a lot of drivers?
It was really difficult, to say the least. Just having these cars like seconds slower than us, and we're trying to make our way around, race each other out. It's been quite a puzzle trying to get around these cars here.
For sure. And then we take a look at the end of the race. You and Chad Lang. Chad Lang had established himself way out front, about a half a second to a second lead over you. Then we get a caution, and it looked like that you just got a better restart on the outside. Was the outside a better place to start at? We noticed on the last restart you elected to stay on the inside, but it looked like the outside groove was the place to start at tonight.
Most definitely, I don't think it was the place to be at the end where me and Jared, we got into each other earlier in the race, and it sent me back like to sixth place. So I realized that the slick wasn't making the high side any better. Just decided to stay low a little bit, and that's where I found most of my time, trying to keep up with Chad Lane and everyone else.
Well, Dale, you grabbed a second victory. You're the first driver this season to grab a second victory. Because it's a playoff system this year that technically puts you at the top of the points unofficially, or officially in the point standings you'll be third, but in the win standings you'll be number one. How big of how much pressure does that take off you and your team, knowing that you got 2 wins and everybody else is still staring down 1 or none, and we've got about 20 races left?
It's definitely a big accomplishment, especially with Speer Motorsports. Working hard on the setup each and every day, especially with the Bristol setup, as Spears didn't really have too many dirt experience. That was kind of their only shining knight in armor with their dirt experience. So I'm happy I got their setup up there and take the win as well.
Well, Dale, congratulations on the victory again. Heading into Auto Club, having these 2 wins in your back pocket, does that change how you approach that race coming up next week? Do you kind of go a little bit more experimental, or you're still going out there trying to win as many races as you can?
I'm still learning the ropes here, so it's going to be experimental. Auto Club is not one of my fastest tracks. Never really raced on it with a cup card at all, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens with that race there next Monday.
Well, Dale, congratulations again on your victory. I'm going to turn it over to you, bud, and let you have the last word here tonight at Bristol.
Yeah, I have to thank everyone up front racing. It was a really good battle we had. Now I'll leave it with that.
All right, Dale. Well, congratulations again on the win. Chris, what a race tonight. We saw a lot of different changes. It was mostly between the 03 and the 21. Chad Lane gets there at the end. Thought he was going to steal one, but Dale Nearad prevails in the end.
He certainly did, and what a rough night for Jared Daniels. He was one of the two drivers that were the class of the field at the early start of this race, and just had a stretch of bad luck there to finish the last car in the lead lap. Tough night for him. You definitely saw where mistakes cost everyone positions tonight. Dale Nearad was probably the exception to that case, as he was able to power his way back up to the result. But honestly, Jared, anybody who says that the Dirt Bristol race is boring is clearly not watching the race. As we saw here tonight, it's a lot of action. Yes, there's definitely a lot more cautions, as these guys aren't used to being on the dirt. But honestly, it's not boring racing at all.
Yeah, it was intense racing all night, and this schedule just gets crazier. We have Auto Club coming up next week. We know that's a rough, bouncy track. Then we're going to go to Martinsville, Richmond, and Talladega looms here on race number 11. Richmond as well in that group. A lot of races coming up, Chris, and a lot of different guys can come to the front. With 2 victories, Dale Nearad puts himself in the catbird seat for this the regular season championship.
He certainly does, but the best competition is to actually be able to have someone that's higher than you or better than you. So it'll be interesting to see how some of our other drivers, like Terry Cooper Jr., can rebound and get their second win, to just try to do whatever they can to catch up to Dale in his second win.
Exactly right, Chris. Well, we will be back live next Monday night from Auto Club Speedway. Hopefully, it won't be as foggy as the truck race we had there the last time we were at Auto Club, but it's going to be a good race nonetheless. It's going to be fun. Dean Doucette was one of the drivers that nearly came away with the victory. I think he finished second, but is the highest returning finisher from the last race, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see if he can get rebounded heading into Auto Club. But that is going to be an exciting race. We got all kinds of action still coming up on Full Throttle TV. We are back in action Wednesday night. The Truck Series is going to be live from USA International Speedway. Short track on tap there. We'll have that coverage on Thursday night, Full Throttle TV. Or Wednesday night. Thursday night, we'll be back with the Elite Sim Racing Association, their IndyCar series as it winds down. Those guys going to be at Gateway. Worldwide Technology Raceway, as it's known now. That'll be a really fun race. I can't wait to see how that's going to turn out for those guys. The championship is getting tighter and tighter in that series. And then Sunday night, ESRA back on the TV, back on Full Throttle, and the Clash Series will be taking the ropes. Those guys will be at Martinsville, so definitely check out those races coming up this week. But for tonight, for Chris Speer, I'm Jared Carr. We will see you guys out on the track.